What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and today we're back to answer more of your questions in another episode of
For the Greater WAAAGH. This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put a question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. That is what Irican Probe did. He asks, was the Cult Mechanicus allowed to invoke before Horus went apeshit on him? I think what you mean to say is, why did the Adeptus Mechanicus betray the Emperor and go to Horus' side? And basically the answer is the Adeptus Mechanicus was able to create AI. There were vaults that were locked away, or there's information locked away in vaults by the Emperor because that information taught the humanity how to create, what are they called? Men of Iron. And these Men of Iron were things that destroyed humanity in the first place, and what is part of the reason why the the Age of Strife was so bad. By canceling them out, or by saying if you fight for Horus and not the Emperor, I'll give you this information. The Fabricator General of Mars was like, yeah, we're going to Horus' side, and they were able to create these machines called, I still can't remember what they're called. They're basically the Men of Iron, but like future Men of Iron. Dominus something? Apex Dominus? I don't know. Yeah, so AI is basically what the Adeptus Mechanicus betrayed the Emperor for.
Right, and it also makes sense too, because like before then, the AdMech, they were still creating, war machines for all of the Imperium, creating more legions of Skitarii and stuff like that. So if they were to never join Horus, then that would have been a huge shift in power, because not only would Horus be outnumbered and outmanned, and he'd just be in so much so in the negatives, because he won't have access to all these like titans, suits of armor, ammunition. There's just so much that the AdMech does for the Imperium that you don't even think about. Because like they do create all these suits of armor, titans, for example. So if Horus and the forces of Chaos didn't have that half that split away from Mars, he'd be screwed even more than he originally was.
Yeah, yep.
So yeah, that definitely improved his forces.
Next question.
Bunny Hop. Can Orc spores survive in space? Water? Fire?
They can survive in space, water. They can't survive fire. They often get burned, or like entire areas are burnt to get rid of it. But yeah.
That's interesting. So like a Nocturne, which is like a volcanic world, they're good?
No, they can still grow on volcanic ash. Like they're not necessarily burning up. They're just on really hot worlds. And they can survive on hot worlds. Does that make sense?
No.
Sorry. Next question comes from Minhales. Do Gretchen and Squigs grow in size like orcs? So the angrier they get, the bigger they get? No.
Squigs get pretty big though, don't they?
Specific breeds do, yes. They create squigoths. But like a squig cannot become a squigoth. Like a bomb squig is a bomb squig, because that's what it is. Like a hair squig is a hair squig. And
I'm really interested in this hair squig now.
Yeah. And a squigoth is a squigoth. They're born that thing. And then Gretchen don't really grow past a certain size because they usually die. Well, no, because then you're going to say, well, so then they just keep growing. No, they die. They stop growing at some point, but they're going to die before that point.
It's like, damn, I'm about to grow 1 inch. I better die.
Well, it just happens naturally. Next question.
All Might. Can a homunculus create any being into a grotesque? So yeah, recently we did the Grimdark battles, and we did the grotesque against the aberrant. And to create a grotesque, they're not just like there. Like it's literally a slave that's been taken from the dark Eldar tombs or caverns, whatever, and they become implemented with hormones, steroids, combat drugs, their arms get chopped off and get implanted with like buzz saws, and then they get lobotomized. So you can be literally any. I believe you can be any creature, and you just become that. Like I know for sure, there's been humans that become grotesques. Tau have become grotesques. Eldar. So.
Has there ever been any conversion work to make those grotesques seem like a certain species?
I believe so. Yeah.
I want to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Next question comes from Grim101. Could there be a new Chaos God that would be of an orc? So Gork and Mork already exist, and that's what they are.
But is it still Chaos, or is it like their own form of their warp?
It's their own form. Kind of like the Emperor. He's not really a Chaos God, or is he? I don't know. Next question.
Dragon Punch. Would you rather pilot a knight or a Tau battlesuit?
Battlesuit seems more mobile.
Yeah.
And less, because like if you pilot a knight, you have to get neurologically connected to them, and that just looks like it would hurt.
But I mean, yeah, that's true.
Because you can pilot a big battlesuit. What are the big ones
The
called?
Storm Surges.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that.
That's the same thing as using like a knight though, because you're slow, but you got a lot of firepower.
But you're not bonded to that thing. Like you can get off and go to McDonald's.
So can a knight pilot? You just gotta like take your interface off.
No, but then like you're forever connected to that thing.
Right.
Yeah, no. I would do battlesuit.
Me too.
Okay.
Battlesuit, hands down.
Next question comes from...
This one's by Defool06. Is there anything that Siient won't collect? I'm pretty sure he'll collect anything. He's a lot like the Collector from like the Marvel universe. So anything he seems is like special or extraordinary, he'll be like, ooh, I want that. I want that. I need that. Gotta have that.
He won't collect haters.
He will.
He just pushes those away.
No, he'll collect them.
The haters?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, next question comes from Jim Dighton. Is it possible to prevent an orc from releasing its spores? What did you say?
Put a big condom on them.
There you go.
Just like a magnum. Not lambskin, because they'll break.
Lambskin.
Lamp.
Next question comes from Pacer15 or Pastor15. How does orc taste? It is good.
Like chicken?
No. It's more fishy, but less like healthy. Like when you eat it, you still get the chest pains from like eating a big ass burger, but you don't get the deliciousness of the greasy food. You get more of a fishy taste. So think of all the negatives to every piece of meat, and that's what an orc tastes like.
Too fatty. Not cooked in the middle.
Bloody, runny.
Some people like that. It's bloody and runny, but still like charred at the same time.
Those are the same people that eat runny eggs. It's gross.
I've had runny eggs before.
Runny eggs are gross. If you eat the yolk and it's still like liquid,
then you don't eat the yolk, you drink it.
Wow, that's gross.
Shaden Hughes. Do you think that the Emperor would still become a Chaos God even without Lorgar's creation of the Imperial cult? Because the Imperial cult basically allowed the citizens to worship the Emperor as a god. Now, to become a Chaos God, you thrive off of worship beliefs. And that's exactly what the Emperor is doing to empower himself in the warp. So, I don't know, that's a tough one.
I don't think, I think that the Imperial truth would reign supreme, and what would end up happening is that more Psychers would have to be sacrificed in order to continue to power the Emperor, and the Emperor wouldn't be as strong. So there'll be a limit to the Astronomicon.
True. That makes sense.
Yeah. Maybe.
But Lorgar did do something right.
He did. Next question comes from Ulf Kendusen. Which one of you nerds play the woman role during sex? We take turns. Sometimes we do both. You know, it's whatever's clever. Next question.
Is it true? Oh, Guilherme Henrique Vieira. Is it true that not all Trader Marines died in the Drop Site Massacre? So the Drop Site Massacre was when basically a bunch of loyalist Space Marine chapters said, you know what, we're joining Horus and attack their brothers. So yeah, they didn't really die because they had the upper hand. If you're asking if a lot of the loyalists died, yes they did. But at the same time, all the key players survived. Vulcan, Corvus Corax, they're still alive. For a long time, they were doing like sneak tactics because like the survivors obviously had to get away, but at the same time they needed reinforcements to come and save them. So it was a huge game of cat and mouse.
So yes.
Yes.
Next question.
Oh, this is an interesting one. Mueller Pot Guider. What do you think would happen if a Dark Eldar raiding fleet established control over an Imperial hive world that has a Gene Stealer cult? Now let's assume that the cult has fully assimilated and it was just short of overthrowing the local government. Would the Gene Stealers try to rally the Imperial forces to repel the Drukhari and preserve the biomass? Or would this be an opportunity to infiltrate Kamara? Would the Dark Eldar then be able to identify the hybrids and get out and dodge them? Or would they be exposing themselves to the galactic bedbugs of the Tyranids?
What you think?
So, I feel like the Gene Stealer cult would try... It depends on what stage they're in. If they're that much infiltrated into the planetary defense forces and the hierarchy of that world, I think they would try to preserve the biomass there, kind of fend off the Dark Eldar, and then, or maybe even just hold them out until the main Tyranid force could come and attack. Now, the question between whether the Drukhari would know about the Gene Stealer infiltration, I don't think they would, because they'd be too focused on trying to take their slaves back to Kamara that they probably won't know until they've actually taken, a few members and seen, oh, they're not, entirely human. There's like Gene Stealer DNA in there or whatever. So, yeah, I think the first option probably be more correct, where they'll just probably fight each other, not really caring as to who or what they actually are, and then depending on the threat level, maybe then the Tyranids would come in and help.
Yeah.
A lot of biomass.
A lot. Last question comes from Merciless Moose. Do you think that if the Orcs wanted to see the Tau as blue, Orcs, it would be possible? So, I thought Tau already blue.
They are.
Okay. Or if the Orcs wanted to believe that they were green Tau, the Tau would join them for the greater WAAAGH. The Tau could use the melee support, and the Orcs would love the new DACA. So, the common misconception about Orc color... We gave it a name last time. Colorification? I don't know. Is that, like, if an Orc believes something, it's going to become true. What it is like, if an Orc believes something statistically as the Orcs gather, it's more likely to happen. Kind of like if you have a gun that shouldn't work, but in the hands of an Orc it works, because probability is in the favor of the Orc. That's their WAAAGH power. So when something is red, it goes faster because of the probability that machine just works better, more efficient, the engine runs smoother or whatever. It's more likely if it's red because they think that. Does that make sense?
Right.
So just because they think that a Tau should be green, they're not magicians. It doesn't mean that like Tau just automatically turn green. Yeah.
But yeah, they won't ally with each other. The Tau already tried to ally with Orcs, and obviously that didn't go well, which was the reason why Farsight was sent in to destroy the Orcs, and how he systematically tore them apart piece by piece by piece. And he found out the inner workings of their language, their society, and that's how he made his tactics based around the Orcs. So
he found out like different hand symbols for the Orcs. It's called stacking. And those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, comment down below. We have a Patreon, we have an Instagram, we have a Facebook. Check us out there.
That's right. As always, this is the Sound Alchemist.
Gershwan.
And we are out.
Oh, if you This is my freedom.